Namaste and Assalamu Alaikum. Introducing Jagmeet Singh. Thank you for coming in today. He will be speaking to us, and I appreciate all of you taking the time out. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. ਤੇ ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੋਈ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਣੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. If anyone wants to ask any questions in English as well, I'd be happy to answer in English. Si vous avez des questions en français aussi, je peux répondre aux questions en français. And so I'll just give you a quick opening. We saw the platform from Mr. Trudeau come out today, and I made a comment outside with the media, and I want to share that with you as well. This election is about who's in it for you, who's going to fight for you, who's got your back. And governments in Ottawa have for a long time worked for those at the very top, and it's made life harder for everyone else. Mr. Trudeau has now turned his back again on families. He's walked away from pharmacare. Everyone, all the experts have said pharmacare is the only way to go forward to do it is universal, and he's walked away from that and told families there's no help on the way. He's turned his back on housing. He's investing 19% less than Harper in housing. And for students who are facing student debt, he's charging interest on that debt, $3 billion over the past 4 years. And instead, for corporations, he waived and forgave $6 billion of loans in 1 year. So that's a contrast. He's telling students that he's going to continue to prop off their backs. Then ਜਿਹੜੇ main ਮਸਲੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਧੋਖਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਕੇ ਦਵਾਈਆਂ ਦਾ ਖਰਚਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਧੋਖਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਤੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਕਰਜ਼ਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਹ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਵਿਆਜ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਚਾਰਜ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਕੁਝ ਖਾਸ ਮਦਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ. ਸੋ ਤਿੰਨ ਮਸਲੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਆਮ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਧੋਖਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ. ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਆਪਸ਼ਨ ਇਕੱਲਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਿਰਫ ਕੰਸਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਤੇ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰਨ. ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਮੌਕੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਲੜੇ, ਆਮ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਲੜੇ, ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਹਿੰਗਾਈ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਟੈਕਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਹੋਰ ਨਵੇਂ ਅਫੋਰਡੇਬਲ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ, ਆਪਾਂ ਦਵਾਈਆਂ ਦਾ ਖਰਚਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਥ ਦੇ ਢਾਂਚੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਤੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਲੋਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਵਿਆਜ ਆ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਭਵਿੱਖ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ. ਸੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਤਕੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆਮ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਅਮੀਰਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ.
Your announcement today that you're going to spend $100 million towards gang violence in whole Canada. Last time Liberals announced 327 and we didn't get enough money in Surrey or anywhere else. So is it just an election stunt or are you real?
Yeah, I'm committed. Our commitment right now is $100 million for youth programs specifically. We'll have other initiatives to tackle gang violence broadly, but specifically for youth violence or youth programs, we want to invest $100 million. The way experts tell us, young people need better mentoring, need better connections to the options that are available for them. They need more hope, they need more supports. We want to provide those supports for young people. We also want to tackle one of the elements of organized crime that is fueling the violence, which is money laundering. And so we've got a specific plan to tackle money laundering. And that plan is to tackle the RCMP department that does not have any specific department funded for tackling money laundering. We want to fund that. We also want to put in place a national registry so you can't hide your money with anonymous numbered companies. People have to disclose who's the beneficiary. This will help us crack down on organized crime.
No one is talking about the port police. Criminals have free hand on our ports, Delta Port, Vancouver Port. We used to have a port police. Seattle has. They have 130 officers, 7 boats, 11 dogs, and we have nothing. So criminals will ship the stuff to Seattle or Vancouver, you can imagine, right?
Yes.
So no party is talking about port police. And if we can't control ports, we can't control fentanyl, we can't control opiates and overdoses. Yeah. And no one is talking about it.
So we've talked about increasing funding for our customs officers, who are the ones that are responsible for making sure when anything is brought in across the border, those are the officers that are responsible for being the ones to be the front line of defense. We want to increase those investments. We've seen them cut under Harper. The same cuts have remained with Mr. Trudeau. We want to invest more in the customs officers who deal with making sure our borders are protected. They need to be there. And when you're talking about specifically in the port case, that's one of the areas where we need to be as vigilant as possible, because that is a weak point where there could be entry of things that we don't want in Canada, like fentanyl, in some cases handguns, and other contraband that we don't want to come into Canada.
on the next federal government?
Yeah, so first off, we want public health emergency still. That's the number one step. We want to hold those pharmaceutical companies that are responsible for distributing the opioids that people become addicted to be held to account. In the states, they've been charged, or there's been lawsuits, and they have been charged as well, that have been found to be successful to find that they were responsible for the deaths because of the lack of proper advice or information provided around the risks to potential addiction, and that information was not provided adequately, and so that's why they were found culpable. We want to make sure that happens in Canada as well. The other thing we want to do is we want to respond to people differently. I was a criminal defense lawyer, so I dealt with clients. I had clients who were charged with personal possession, who were addicted, they had mental health issues, they had poverty struggles. And these three problems that they're faced with were not criminal problems. These were healthcare problems. These were social justice problems. So I want to respond to the crisis with compassion and care and healthcare to save lives. Instead of putting them in jail, let's find ways to give them the help they need.
Saying on the environment, the BNSF railway, which goes from Washington State to Vancouver, passed through Semiahmoo First Nation, White Rock, and South Surrey. There's a push from the local community down there to have that railway relocated due to the number of dangerous goods, oil, gas, coal that goes through there constantly. Do you have a stance on this railway, a plan?
I haven't looked at that particular file to give you a specific position on that file, but I can tell you, broadly speaking, we have to do a far better job of making sure we work with communities that are impacted by projects like railroad or pipelines, so that their communities aren't threatened, they aren't faced with problems, they aren't faced with challenges without any solutions. And so this is an example of perhaps a historic mistake that was made that put a community in the line of maybe dangerous goods. So this is an example of how decisions have been made in the past that haven't respected Indigenous communities or communities that might be threatened by a particular danger, and how we have to do a better job of making decisions that respect the communities that are impacted.
What is your policy for gun control of it? How you will control them?
We'll stand up when need be. We've said very clearly, if a city makes a decision, like Surrey, for example, or Toronto, which has already made this request, to ban a handgun or any particular, if they identify a danger and they want to have the powers to ban it, we have been long called for. It's been about a year and a half where I wrote a letter saying we should give the municipality the power to legislate, to give them the legislative powers to ban handguns if they choose to do so. We need to make sure that we're vigilant in protecting Canadians and making good decisions around gun policies. And this is one example of giving the power to a municipality to make that decision and giving them the right to do so.
Liberal says that they're going to ban the military-style weapons, as well as they're going to give power to the municipalities to ban those weapons. What do you know?
So municipalities to ban handguns for over a year, and they haven't listened. So now, right before an election, they're acting now. They could have done this a year ago if they really wanted to. They had the power, they had the majority, and they didn't. So that's my concern, that they haven't acted, but I support it. And in respective weapons that are designed to hunt people, that's not in line with those who make the lifestyle choice. They're hunting. They want to have firearms for their lifestyle, or for Indigenous communities, it's a way of life as well. That's a separate issue. But those type of weapons that are specifically designed just for humans, that have been linked to other incidents of violence in other jurisdictions, I support the idea of limiting their use and limiting their access.
Doctor, my question is regarding electoral reforms.
Yes.
Trudeau was talking about electoral reforms in 2015, but then he was quiet. What would you do? That's my part A of the question. Part B is that you've been saying a lot that in a minority situation you won't be supporting Scheer.
Yes.
So what does it mean? That you are not sure about your success or something? What is it?
Yes, I'll answer both questions. Thank you. So first question, the federal committee that studied this question, they went around all of Canada and met with people, got thousands of testimony, thousands of deputations around what people wanted, came up with the result that the vast majority, the overwhelming majority, were in favor of proportional representation federally. So what I would do is, based on that finding, and the finding that many Canadians don't feel like their vote counts, they vote but it doesn't get reflected, and Also, we've seen many examples where less than the majority of Canadians vote for a party, but it gets all the power. So last two governments in a row with Conservatives and with Liberals, they got 39% of the vote, but they got 100% of the power. That's unfair. It takes away the voice of people. So I would put in place proportional representation immediately as a New Democrat when I have the position to do so, and do it without a referendum, and run that for 2 terms, 2 election cycles, and then give people a chance to say if they like the system or not. It's a system that will allow people to have more choice, give power and voice to people, and make sure that their vote counts. Then on the second question, I've ruled out very clearly working with Mr. Scheer because we don't have any alignment. As it stands, he's someone that believes in cutting services, cutting healthcare. He doesn't believe in making universal medication coverage available. He doesn't believe in investing in housing. Doesn't even think that there's a healthcare or a environmental crisis. So for all the reasons, he doesn't support the rights of women. He doesn't support the rights of minority communities. For all these reasons, I've said I can't work with someone like that, and that's very clear. But I'm still running to become Prime Minister, and I'm still running to form government. But I wanted to make it clear who I couldn't work with.
Dr. Khan? Oh yes, this is just supplementary to that. If the situation comes to that, if there's a minority government and you have already ruled out support to the Conservatives. So I would just like to know what would be the 3 main issues you would like to put forward for support to any of the party.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Now come back to Pani.
Vinay is from Time of Canada. And me, Chaudhary from Canada Town.
Oh, I see. Contrast. Time is there. And housing, ending speculation with the foreign buyers tax federally, clamping down on money laundering with official federal registry, as well as RCMP unit dedicated to tackling money laundering. So building housing is a big one. Building 500,000 new affordable homes and rental subsidies. The second one would be healthcare. We want to expand immediately to include medication coverage for everyone, as well as dental care coverage for 4.2 million Canadians. So those are 2 priorities with healthcare. And then finally, we believe that the environment is crucial to tackle the environmental crisis, so young people have a future where they're not afraid of what might happen. We want to invest massively in tackling the climate crisis. So these are our 3 major priorities.